So procedure at the asylum office. We have everything prepared. We filed everything. We met with our client. We're prepped. We're ready to go. We have our interpreter. We're going to the asylum office. So what happens there? We have two asylum offices primarily. And asylum offices are in inconvenient locations unless you have a car. Okay, I don't have a car here in New York. My clients have never had cars. I've always taken public transportation to the asylum offices to their inconvenient locations. To the Newark Asylum Office, you're taking a bus from the Port Authority at about 6 o'clock in the morning. It's a delight to be in Port Authority at 6 o'clock in the morning, by the way. Make sure you use the restroom there because that's super fun. So just be warned, it's an interesting place. The same goes for Penn Station if you're taking the LIRR super early in the opposite direction of where everybody else is coming from. Okay. The New York Asylum Office, which for the majority of the kids that we're seeing is the place you're going, is in the middle of this lovely suburban land where you basically walk 10 to 15 minutes through this like residential, lovely suburban la-la land to get to the asylum office, which is in this strip mall that doesn't appear until the last minute. It's weird, right? You're walking with your clients as if you're going trick-or-treating in the suburbs, and it's weird. So maybe explaining that to your clients before. The Lyndhurst, New Jersey, I'm used to dealing with French speakers, and we always joked about Le Petit Chateau, which means the little castle, which was the medieval times that was right by the asylum office right there. And that, for me, was always my trigger for when I was going to get off the bus. Remember, the castle. Okay, the New York Asylum Office, I think it's helpful just to explain to your clients that we're going to take the train, and we're going to actually have to switch trains, and then we're going to walk for a little bit. So, you know, bring shoes with you if you're a woman and you wear high heels. The sidewalk's not that even. You know, bring appropriate shoes to like trek through suburbia to the asylum office. Awesome. So the point of all this is make a plan well ahead of time on how you're going to get there and how your clients are going to get there. Help them to make sure that it's not the morning of and they're like, what is going on? I thought I was supposed to be going to the immigration court or something like that. You want to make sure that they know where they're going. Okay. Not only are they in inconvenient locations, but asylum office interviews are typically scheduled super early in the morning in the inconvenient locations that they are, which means, again, you are getting there by 7:45 or 8 o'clock in the morning, which means basically you need to eat breakfast, a big breakfast, hearty breakfast, and please make sure that your client eats something before too. Oftentimes people are really nervous. I'm nervous, and I can't eat a lot that morning, but you might be sitting there for a little while, and we all know how wonderful we are when we're hungry and tired, right? We're cranky, we don't want to answer questions. So being able to eat something is super helpful. You're not usually allowed to eat in the asylum office. Usually in some you can actually step out in the hallway. You'll have to go back through security, but you can step out and have a granola bar or something like that, but that's not the ideal situation. You also want to encourage your clients to bring a book, a magazine, or something non-electronic to do. In the Newark Asylum Office, you have to lock up everything that could possibly be electronic. That's your cell phone, that's your iPad, that's all of that. New York one has a little bit of different regulations, but just so that you're not sitting there for 2 hours watching the Fox TV channel that they have playing, you might want to actually have something to do to keep you occupied and for your clients to take their mind off the fact that they're sitting there for 2 hours. Right, maybe you'll ask questions and prep a little bit, but this is not the ideal situation where you want to be doing your prep for the asylum office is not actually at the asylum office. You want to have that done before, and you want your client to basically have something to keep their mind occupied so they're not worrying terribly until they're called. The asylum office calls you by the last 3 digits of your A number. In the New York Asylum Office, they give you this little ticket. You have to keep the ticket. Don't lose the ticket. It's a big deal. When you lose the ticket, they get mad at you and you feel like a big dope. So it's like a deli ticket, right? Just like put it in your pocket or your purse and don't lose it. And don't give it to your clients and then, expect them in their nervousness to be able to produce the ticket. You hold on to the ticket. Okay. So arriving at the asylum office, make an actual plan with your client of where you're going to meet. Both of these are basically suburban office buildings that have lobbies, and the people who work in the lobbies are really nice, especially at the New York Asylum Office. So you can actually meet there in the lobby. In the New York Asylum Office, there's a little cafe that may or may not be open at the time that you're there, but you can meet right there inside and then go up to the 3rd floor. In New Jersey, it's up to the 4th floor. Bring identification. This means you, attorney, you need to have valid ID, not some expired thing. You need to have ID to get in the building. The interpreter does as well. They're going to ask everybody for identification. If there's any documents you want to bring with, things that you didn't file with the original application, bring your 3 copies of those as well. Bring all of your originals with you. You're not submitting originals to immigration. You're bringing those with. And then you might be waiting for a while. It really depends on what's going on, but you're waiting and you're listening for those last 3 digits of the A number usually to be called. Okay, so we have the asylum office interview. I would encourage all of you in that Dropbox folder that I mentioned, and the link is on that half sheet of paper that I gave you. If you forget or lose the half sheet of paper, it's on our website, safepassageproject.org, under CLE's asylum. What we have posted there, or you could Google it, are the Asylum Officer Basic Training Course, the Guidelines for Children's Asylum Claims. So this is the training manual that the asylum officers themselves are trained with. So this is what they're supposed to be using, what they are supposed to have internalized when they're dealing with you and dealing with your client. It's a lot of super helpful information. And so particular to children's asylum claims is the idea that a trusted adult can come with the child. The trusted adult is seen as a support person who may help bridge the gap between the child's culture and the environment of a U.S. asylum interview. The function of the adult is not to interfere with the interview process or to coach the child during the interview, but to serve as a familiar and trusted source of comfort. And that I literally read from the Children's Asylum Claim Training Course. So that comfort person can come with the child, and in our experience, that person has been welcomed into the asylum interview, and it's been a great source of comfort for the kid. So maybe that's mom, maybe that's the person who's a legal guardian, maybe that's brother or sister, but it's a good idea to have the discussion with the client as to whether or not they want someone to come with. They do not have to bring a trusted adult with them if there is nobody or they don't feel comfortable having a person. Okay. Also, we've had situations where if the child is appearing at the asylum interview without the parent or guardian, the asylum officers send a letter asking for the parent's permission for the child to be applying for asylum, or asking the location of the parents.